Got a question on TikTok asking about a purchaser of a 4 unit complex here. It's 3 units. It looks like it's a fourplex here. They're saying that they have a Section 8 long-term Section 8 tenant that that came with the property when they purchased it, and the rent is at least $1,000 under market. Is there any remedy to rectify that? Hi, my name is Rob Wells. I'm the landlord boy on TikTok and YouTube. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to our videos. Now, I'm assuming state law Tenant Protection Act applies because there are 4 dwelling units. Okay, this is like a fourplex. Okay, under state law, these tenancies would be protected under the Tenants Protection Act of 2019 once the tenants have resided in the property for 12 months or greater. Okay, long-term tenant, I'm assuming they've lived there more than a year. Okay, so that being said, those prices are regulated under Civil Code Section 1947.12, which basically limits a landlord to raising the rent. They get a 5% increase plus the change in CPI, and that changes every year, basically between March and April, when the federal government publishes the Consumer Price Index, basically. Okay, in Solano County, I believe it's like 2.7%. So landlords can't raise the rent no more than 7.7%. Okay, for example, because we use the all California number. California averages out the CPI index for counties that are not in a area where the federal government reports that information. I think our metroplex is called San Francisco, Oakland, Hayward. Okay, and it covers like Contra Costa, Alameda, San Mateo, San Francisco counties. It might cover Santa Clara, I'm not sure off the top of my head, but you're limited to that. So that being said, if your rent is $1,000 less and you can only raise the rent 7.7%, for example, it's going to take you a while to, catch up to market rates. Although I am hearing that rents are actually decreasing. I don't know. It's all relative speaking. So that might be a problem for a landlord. And this is something that you should consider when you're purchasing a property. I've had a lot of multifamily deals. I've heard of deals falling out because the rents are ultra low. I actually had one client thinking about purchasing a property, and then I had to tell them, their property was actually in the city of Antioch, which actually is lower than state Tenant Protection Act. I think they go maximum of 3% or 60% of the change in CPI, whatever's less. So that's even lower than state Tenant Protection Act. So you're going to have to check to see if you're in a local area that actually has rates lower than state law allows, because under a local municipality can regulate multi-dwelling rents, basically, and that doesn't violate Costa-Hawkins or anything like that. So you're gonna have to check where you're purchasing property at. Too, one way that they might be able to get reset the rent rates are if the landlord terminates the tenancy to perform a substantial renovation or remodel. We've done videos on that. It's a whole cumbersome process under state law, including you're gonna have to tell the tenant, like what is being remodeled, attaching building permits. You're going to have to state that, or the work is going to have to take 30 consecutive days, and the tenant can't be there safely while performing the work. Basically, we're talking, not your kitchen remodels or anything like that. We're talking like demoing a property or like building it, from the floor up type deal. Okay, that landlord might be able to terminate for substantial renovation under state law, and then basically, adjust the rents to market rate at that point. But your mileage is going to vary. When I talk to my owners, I make sure that they comply under state law. And then if you're subject to a local ordinance that has more restrictive requirements, you're going to have to check your local listings, because some local ordinances don't allow you to reset the rent. rents. In fact, you have to re-rent. You have to offer the tenant that was displaced the first right of refusal to rent the property out at whatever rent they were being charged, or they might be allowed a certain percentage, but you got to read your local rules. So hope that helps out. If you're in the Northern California area and you need help, feel free to reach out. We might be able to help out. Put your comments, questions down below. Until next time, folks, I'll talk to you then. Thanks.